War on the Dead Gods by Miss Sharks 202. I can see how death wears on him. He grins, but his teeth are yellow and his eyes are sunk into his pitiful skull. A terrible sight for someone not over 20 years of age. "I know it's you," he says with a weak, choppy voice. "The local village elder has told me such." He's wrong. I tower over the sinewy lad. Immortality has a way of imbuing your body with proper mass, and I feel that even my voice could level the kid. I am slightly amazed that in such a state he could find my wooden hut tucked so far back into the old woodlands. "You need to leave. There is nothing for you here." "I can't, He breaks out into a spit of rattling, uncontrolled coughs. He keels over with his spasms, and I have to catch him from falling off of the small wooden stool. It racks his body, almost splitting him in half. Yet slowly he regains himself, wiping the tears from his face and taking a moment to recapture his poise. There's a discipline to the small fellow. Torment and doom hang over him like dreadful gods, yet he doesn't bow. He takes no moment to apologize or excuse his spell, but continues on his quest without hesitation. I'll admit, that caught my rare admiration. "I can't," he continues. "I've heard the stories of you, the epics. Abel the Immortal, founder of the school of Undying. I've heard you once traveled the lands teaching people how to fight the dead gods, waging war on Hades itself." My eyes scan him. In my hundreds of years roaming, I'd picked up an acute ability to pass through people's intentions. I sigh and lower into the stool across from him. With a gravelly voice, I level the truth that I now know he deserves. "That was long ago, my boy. I have abandoned that path, and it's best you do too." I grimace as memories wrestle my mind. The gods were right. Man is not meant to live forever. Yet here you stand. Do not use me as a lesson, boy. I promise you, I am closer to the devils themselves than humanity. Yet you spent eons bringing humans. Another storm of coughs attacked the poor kid. This time I saw him fight the spell. He had things he wanted to say, so he couldn't sit through torture without effort to free himself. I watched on with pitying eyes. He didn't have long left. "You spent eons." He was breathing heavily, wiping spit from his lip. He continued with strain. "Showing mankind the light. I just ask you to do that one more time." I shook my head, slow and grave. "Boy, it is best that you accept the death which knocks on your door. It will one day even find me." His face twisted into a frown and he spit on the floor. "Bollocks to me, I'm a dead man." I raised my head up in surprise. He continued, breath becoming more and more empty with each passing word. "I am too far gone for any hope. It's a miracle I made it this far. I come only for the sake of my village. A great plague rattles us, the very one that kills me now. Before I left, it began on my brother and sister, and I fear that they too will die soon if you do not show them the way." A storm of emotion brewed in my chest that I hadn't felt in eons. I looked down at the lad, but felt no superiority to him. If anything, I felt almost a need to bow in respect. "You have already accepted your fate." His eyes battered with lethargic pain. "Aye," he nodded. "Death can have me, but never them." My heart pounded. I took to my knee next to the kid and wrapped my large hand around his feeble skull. "Boy, look at me, please." Slowly his dry eyes found their way to meet mine, though I could tell he was quickly expiring. I wasted no time. When I taught men the art of fighting the dead gods, it fell apart because in the end one can always die, either on the battlefield or in the spirit. Sickness and age aren't the only killers, and this eventually drives all men mad. Almost every one of my students, hundreds of people, ended up joining the dead god's crusade on life, simply because he promised them the years of those they had slain. Do you hear me, boy? By teaching those to fight death, they almost always become it. The plague that torments your village, the death that haunts you, I recognize its stench. You're dying because of the men I once taught. You're dying because of my hubris. He sucked in air. "Fuck 'em. Fight back." I shook, trying to remember how to control the emotion that ran through my body. "Boy, are you listening?" He nodded, mouth ajar, as he no longer had the energy to hold himself together. "I want you to hear this, and I want you to answer me honestly. Your village, your family, are they much like you, boy? Are they good people?" He took a few moments to build up his breath. His back wrought with spasm and pain, and each time he closed his eyes to blink, I feared they'd never open again. Finally, with great effort, he said, "To their core." I nodded, now sure of my mission. I picked up the poor lad and brought him over to my large bed, laying him among the blankets and pelts. "I know the gatekeeper of Hades," I told him. "She is a woman named Acephalus. Tell her you're a friend of Abel, and she might help you on your next journey." He nodded, eyes closed and twisting with his final moments. "The name of your village?" "Bethel," he whispered. I put my hand on his head. I'd felt the soul leave many men before, yet each time it was worth a moment of respect. "Finally, what is your name, son?" With a resolute, painful gasp, he told me, "Lazarus." I nodded. "Lazarus, I swear to you, on the sacred texts and the new divinity, I swear to you that I will teach the art of undying to your people. I will show them how to fight the dead gods." I recognized a glint of acknowledgement in his pained face. "With luck, your journey is not yet over either. Death is just another step, and many a man has found a new path on the other side. I will see you again one day, my friend." Lazarus left this world, though not before knowing his village would not know the same fate anytime soon. I burned his body to the rites of the ancients. Then I grabbed my great axe and took off towards Bethel, a city that would soon become famous, though at the time I only knew my mission, not anything of destiny. Death, the war has begun again. I won't make the same mistakes twice. Abel. The end. Like and subscribe for more content.